You wake up tired, not just physically tired, but tired in a way that sleep doesn't fix. You've had 8 hours, maybe more, but you still feel drained, empty, like you're operating on 30% battery. And everyone has an opinion about why. You need to exercise more, you need to eat better, you need to drink more water, you need to meditate, you need to manage your stress. And maybe they're right. Maybe all of those things would help. But here's what nobody tells you. The reason you're exhausted isn't just because you're not doing the right things for your body. It's because you're giving your energy to the wrong things, to the wrong people, to the wrong commitments. You're treating your energy like it's infinite. Like you can pour yourself into everything and everyone and somehow still have enough left for yourself. But energy isn't infinite. It's the most finite resource you have. More finite than time, more finite than money. Because you can have all the time in the world and still have no energy to use it. And until you understand that, until you learn to protect your energy like your life depends on it, because it does, you'll spend your whole life running on empty. Today, we're going to talk about the energy equation, how to identify what drains you, how to protect what powers you, and how to build a life that doesn't constantly deplete the one resource you can't afford to lose. Let's start by understanding how you got here, how you ended up so drained. Most people think energy works like a battery. You wake up with a full charge, you use it throughout the day, you sleep, it recharges. Repeat. But that's not how it actually works. Because not all activities deplete energy equally, and not all rest restores energy equally. Some things drain you faster than others, and some things drain you in a way that sleep can't fix. Let me give you some examples. You spend an hour working on a project you care about, you're focused, you're in flow, and yes, you're using energy. But when you're done, you don't feel depleted. You feel tired in a good way, satisfied, accomplished. Now, you spend an hour in a meeting that could have been an email, listening to people talk in circles, biting your tongue, pretending to care. When you're done, you feel exhausted, not just tired, drained, like someone siphoned your soul. Same amount of time, completely different energy cost, or this. You spend an evening with a friend who genuinely sees you, who listens, who makes you laugh. You leave feeling energized, lighter, more yourself. Then, you spend an evening with someone who only talks about themselves, who vents endlessly but never asks how you're doing, who takes and never gives. You leave feeling hollow, depleted, like you just donated blood but got nothing in return. Same activity, completely different energy outcome. This is the energy equation. Not all inputs are equal, and not all outputs are equal. But here's the problem. You've been taught to say yes to everything, to be helpful, to be available, to be productive, to be strong. And you've been conditioned to feel guilty about protecting your energy. Like needing rest is weakness, like setting boundaries is selfish, like prioritizing yourself is wrong. So you give and give and give until there's nothing left. And then you wonder why you can't function, why you can't focus, why you can't feel joy. It's not because you're broken, it's because you're empty, and you can't pour from an empty cup. So how do you fix this? How do you stop the depletion cycle? It starts with awareness. You need to understand where your energy is actually going, not where you think it's going, where it's actually going. Here's what I want you to do. For the next week, keep an energy journal, not a time tracker, an energy tracker. At the end of each day, write down the activities you did, and next to each one, mark it as one of three things: energizing, neutral, or depleting. Energizing means you felt more alive after doing it, more yourself, more connected to your purpose. Neutral means it didn't cost you much, but it didn't give you much either. It was just maintenance. Depleting means you felt drained after, less alive, less yourself, like something was taken from you. Now, here's what you're going to discover, and it's going to surprise you. Some of the things you thought were giving you energy are actually depleting you, like scrolling social media. You think it's rest, but it's not. It's passive consumption. And consumption without creation is exhausting. And some of the things you've been avoiding thinking they're hard are actually energizing, like that creative project you keep putting off, or that conversation you've been dreading. Because doing hard things that matter gives you energy. Avoiding them drains you. You'll also discover that some people are energy vampires, not because they're bad people, but because the dynamic between you is unbalanced. You give, they take. You listen, they vent. You show up, they disappear. And you've been telling yourself, it's fine. That's what friends do. That's what family does. That's what good people do. But it's not fine. Because you can't sustain a relationship where the energy only flows one way. Eventually you run dry. Now, I need to be clear about something. I'm not telling you to cut out everything hard. I'm not telling you to only do things that feel good. Hard work can be energizing. Difficult conversations can be energizing. Challenging yourself can be energizing. The question isn't, is this easy? The question is, does this feed me or drain me? And once you have that data, once you see clearly where your energy is going, you can start making different choices. Now comes the hard part, protecting your energy. Because it's one thing to know what drains you, it's another thing to actually stop doing it. Here's why it's hard. Energy protection requires boundaries. And boundaries require you to disappoint people. You have to say no to the friend who only calls when they need something. You have to decline the invitation to the event that you know will drain you. You have to stop overcommitting at work because you're afraid of seeming difficult. And every time you do that, your brain will scream at you. It will tell you you're being selfish, that you're letting people down, that you're not a good person. But here's the truth. If you don't protect your energy, you won't have any energy left for the people and projects that actually matter. So here's the protocol. 3 rules for energy protection. Rule 1, no guilty energy spending. If you're going to do something that drains you, do it because you consciously choose to, not because you feel obligated. Sometimes you'll choose to spend energy on something depleting because it matters. Taking care of a sick family member, doing a work project that's important but tedious, supporting a friend through a crisis. That's fine, that's life, but do it consciously. Say to yourself, this will drain me, but I'm choosing it because it aligns with my values. That conscious choice makes all the difference because you're not a victim of your circumstances. You're an agent making a trade-off. But if you're doing something depleting out of guilt, out of obligation, out of fear of what people will think, stop. That's not generosity. That's self-abandonment. Rule 2, energy in before energy out. You cannot pour from an empty cup, so stop trying. Before you show up for other people, show up for yourself. Before you give your time, give yourself time. Before you solve their problems, make sure you're okay. This isn't selfish. This is sustainable. Because if you burn out, you're not helping anyone. You're just adding yourself to the list of people who need help. Rule 3, protect your high energy windows. Everyone has times of day when they're most alive, most focused, most creative. For some people, it's morning. For others, it's late at night. It doesn't matter when it is. What matters is that you protect it. Don't give your best energy to low-value tasks. Don't schedule draining meetings during your peak hours. Don't scroll your phone during the time when you're most capable of doing your best work. Your high-energy windows are sacred. Treat them that way. Now, let's talk about the other side of the equation, how to restore the energy you've spent. Because protecting your energy is only half the solution. You also need to actively restore it. And here's what most people get wrong. They think rest means doing nothing. Lying on the couch, watching TV, scrolling their phone. But passive rest doesn't restore energy. It just stops the depletion temporarily. The moment you go back to your life, you're still running on empty. Real restoration requires active rest. Rest that engages you, that reconnects you to yourself, that fills the tank instead of just pausing the drain. Here's what that looks like. For some people, it's movement, not exercise for performance, but movement for joy. Dancing in your living room, walking without a destination, stretching without a goal. For others, it's creation, writing, drawing, cooking, building, making something with your hands. For others, it's connection, real connection, not small talk, but deep conversation with someone who sees you, who makes you feel less alone. For others, it's solitude, time alone, without guilt, without your phone, without distraction, just you and your thoughts. The key is this: restoration isn't about numbing, it's about feeling. It's not about escaping yourself, it's about coming home to yourself. And you need to schedule it. I know that sounds strange, scheduling rest, but if you don't, it won't happen. Because there will always be something more urgent. Someone who needs you, something to do. So put it in your calendar. Treat it like a meeting you can't cancel, because it is. It's a meeting with yourself, and it's the most important one you have. Let me tell you what I've learned about energy. You can have all the ambition in the world, all the goals, all the discipline, all the courage. But if you don't protect your energy, none of it matters. Because energy is the currency. It's what allows you to show up, to do the work, to be present, to care. And the world will take as much as you give. It will drain you dry if you let it. Not because it's cruel, but because it's hungry and you're generous. But generosity without boundaries isn't generosity. It's self-destruction. So here's what I need you to do. Start the energy audit this week. Track what energizes you and what drains you, and then make one change. Just one. Say no to one thing that's been depleting you. Say yes to one thing that restores you. You don't have to overhaul your entire life. Just shift the equation slightly less drain, slightly more restoration, and watch what happens. You'll notice you have more to give, not less, because you're giving from overflow instead of depletion. You'll notice you're more present, more creative, more yourself. Not because you're doing more, but because you're protecting what powers everything else. Your energy is your life force. It's what makes you you, and it deserves to be protected, nourished, and honored. So stop running on empty. Stop giving yourself away. Stop apologizing for needing rest. You're not a machine. You're a human being, and human beings need energy to be fully human. Protect yours, like your life depends on it, because it does.